Going for your first ever run around the park. Literally running errands all over town. Running for the finish line and your personal best. If you run, you're a runner. Find the shoes and clothes to run your way at newbalance.com/running. New Balance. Run your way.
This episode is brought to you by Dove. You use all the right skincare products for your face, but your body has been missing out. With new Dove Serum Body Wash, you can give your body the vitamin C glow it's been wanting, the hydration boost it's been craving, and the active skincare ingredients it deserves. It's time for your body care era. New Dove Serum Body Wash. Get Dove or get FOMO.
But everything that the defender needs to get to the football, whether it's a pass or a run, but we're talking pass here, and particularly probably drop back pass, but everything he needs is time and space. Those are the two things he needs, time and space. And those are the two things I do not want to give the defender.
Today's episode is from the 2023 Cool Clinic, where Scott Fuchs, the assistant offensive line coach for the Tennessee Titans now, discusses his preference for the short set technique in pass blocking. Coach Fuchs emphasizes the importance of effort over technique, highlighting how maximum effort on each play is crucial for success on the field. He explains the concept of task versus result, focusing on the importance of understanding and executing the task at hand rather than being reactive to the defense. He also touches on creating distortion for protection, which simplifies pass blocking techniques, and the significance of maintaining a wide base, simplifying pass blocking techniques. Coach Fuchs also addresses the technique of angle sets, stressing the importance of turning the shoulders to the defender and avoiding oversetting to prevent the defender from gaining an advantage. Additionally, he highlights the role of the guards in handling stunts and games to disrupt the defense and maintain control in pass protection. Coaches that I've talked to at the high school level really like this idea and see the advantages of teaching protection this way. We share sections of the clinic where Coach Fuchs is explaining the concepts. The video that goes along with this is available in the entire clinic on CoachTube and really illustrates these points. The link to that clinic is in the show notes. The 2024 Cool Clinic is just a week away and begins on May 16th. You can get your tickets for the clinic or join one of the year-long memberships that provide longer access and additional content. Find those at cool2024.coachesclinic.com. I'll put that link in the show notes. Here's Coach Fuchs on Why Set Short from the 2023 Cool Clinic. What you see on tape is a direct reflection of what you teach and how you teach. Video is important, but if you don't teach well, you're not going to like what you see on your video. First Down Playbook has been helping coaches teach better for 13 years. It allows you to present installs, playbooks, and practice cards in half the time with NFL quality. Coaching tools like video pairing, a player app, practice schedules, and wristband sheets have made First Down Playbook a program management system with everything in one place. If you're in a position of leadership with your football program, receive a free 1-week look at First Down Playbook. Call them at 512-814-6158 or visit them on their website or social media. Mention Coach and Coordinator Podcast or use the coupon code COACH24 to receive a $100 discount off the normal $700 First Down Playbook team membership price. Links and the phone number are in the show notes. As coaches, we know that some of the biggest hurdles to our team's success can come from off the field. Your team needs support to tackle the endless list of expenses, uniforms, training equipment, travel, and more. But raising that money can feel like a full-time job. Thankfully, there's Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is the premier online fundraising platform using innovative technology to create the easiest and most efficient system available. Raise more money in less time with a local fundraising coach who works with your team every step of the way to customize the ideal fundraiser. With options for online donations, digital discount cards, premium product sales, and even spirit shops, Vertical Raise has top-of-the-line solutions for every fundraising style. To find out more, visit verticalraise.com and we'll get you connected with an exclusive offer on your first fundraiser.
Just want to say I really appreciate having me speak at this clinic. It's a complete honor to talk offensive line play with your peers. I know it's a little bit different over Zoom than when we did it live, but hopefully we can get something out of this. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I went out and met with Howard Mudd in Seattle, and I wanted to learn how to teach pass blocking and how Howard had done it. And you'll see a lot of Howard Mudd references in this presentation. I did a little bit Wyoming. I went to Buffalo for 2 years and totally sold out on it. I love short setting or setting shorter. I really enjoy teaching it this way. It made sense to me. And as I look at this, and I always kind of throw something in there with a little philosophy as well. I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I'm going into, I think about my 30th year coaching offensive line. And the one thing that I realize has been a constant through all those years is no matter what I've taught with technique, no matter what great ideas that have been passed along, and I've tried to kind of teach to my guys, the effort has always been greater than any technique that I've ever taught. So whatever effort, the greatest effort is what makes things happen on the football field. I think you guys all know that, but it's something I always kind of believed in, but now even more so. My guys understand this. Giving great effort is way more important than technique. And I love technique and I love teaching and learning about technique, but effort is so critical in everything that we do on the football field. Those 4 to 6 seconds that the average play takes, and how hard are you willing to play on each play. So I have maybe shifted to 180 a little bit more so, just emphasizing effort so much more than technique. And I'll get into that a little bit. The other thing here is task versus result. This was something Howard gave me, and I think we all use this in some way, shape, or form, but it made sense when Howard explained it to me. If I take my right tackle and I have a drop back pass play, and I ask the right tackle, what's the task of this play? And he might say the task is to block the defensive end. And ultimately, really, that'll be the result. Okay. The task is for him to do whatever technique we want him to do correctly, keep his base wide, work off the line of scrimmage, how he places his hands. That's the task. And you see it too, I guess, when you go through your Indy, and guys look great in Indy, and then you get them in these one-on-one situations, or you get them in real life situations, they panic and they forget really what the task is. So understanding that the task is what you are doing, and it goes back to the proactive. What doesn't matter what the defender is doing ever. In my mind, it matters what I'm doing all the time. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm not going to worry about why this guy is lined up this way or that way. I might have some indicators at some point that tell me something, but ultimately, what am I doing is going to be the most important thing. Okay. So why set short? The first thing underneath that says distortion is protection. All right. Now I'm going to give props to our offensive coordinator, Andy Kolnick. He definitely wanted this in the presentation, but ultimately, as much distortion as we can create, the better the protection. I guess a lot of this stuff, setting short, kind of goes way back in the day, probably to play action pass, run action pass, where everybody still uses that right now, but then it kind of gets applied to drop back as well. But being able to have distortion when we do pass block people does create the protection. Okay. The first bullet point on here is time and space. And this was one thing that I talked to my guys about quite a bit, and they understand this. But everything that the defender needs to get to the football, whether it's a pass or a run, but we're talking pass here, and particularly probably drop back pass, but everything he needs is time and space. Those are the two things he needs, time and space. And those are the two things I do not want to give the defender. All right. And if I truly believe that, then I'm going to want to set short. I want to take away time and space as much as possible every time I am pass blocking. The other reason for me, and these are all my reasons, I guess, is I want to simplify. So this is the only way that we're going to pass set. This is the only way we're going to pass block, whether it's play action or a drop back or anything. This is how we're going to do it. I don't have to teach something different for every play. I'm probably not good enough to teach on this set, do this, on this set, do this. We're just going to set one way. This is how we're going to do it. And we're going to take care of business doing that. We obviously have to deal with a wider DN and a tighter DN. And there's some differences with that, but I truly believe this has simplified, I guess, what I teach and how I teach it. All right. The third bullet point on here, I must be moving toward a defender to block him. Good buddy of mine, Butch Berry, gave a talk, maybe one of the last times the Cool Clinic was live in Cincinnati, and just kind of talked about this quite a bit. And I didn't really understand it all that well during the talk, which is the case of most talks I listen to. I don't really understand them all that well right away. But going in and revisiting this over and over, whether I'm kick sliding backwards or I'm setting backwards, at some point, I think you may all agree. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'm probably going to have to work towards that defender to block him. Okay. So if I know I'm going to have to work towards him to block him, I might as well do it right away in my mind. Okay. The fourth one, closing space right now. That goes back to time and space, but I'm going to close that space right now. First meaningful touch wins. I think we've all heard that quote. The one thing about, that might be a debatable quote too. I don't know. But I know that my guys like the idea of, okay, we're going to be proactive. I'm going to go touch this guy and I'm going to get the party started right now. Okay. So first meaningful touch winning is maybe more of a mindset for them. I'm going to get this thing started. I'm not going to wait on this guy. I also believe this, and this was something that I worried about a little bit when I started to set short or just creep on guys, is I'm worried that the guy's going to slant across my face and I'm not going to be able to react to that. But I also believe this too, that if I can put a hand on that defender and feel that pressure, I'm going to have a better chance, or I'm going to be able to redirect better or change direction with that defender if I have a hand on him and I can feel that pressure. So it's kind of like a sidebar to this. I think it actually helps us change direction with defenders once we get a hand on them quicker. And then ultimately, the bottom one there, maybe I'm just adding some bullet points, but I want to give the defender a different block to read, okay? Anytime that defender sees you not coming at him, he knows it's a pass, okay? If you're not working at that guy, he's going to start pass rush mode right now. I think we kind of make some guys have to figure it out a little bit before they get going. This is obviously Howard here, just the dish concept, and I've heard several guys be able to explain this a little better than myself. The one thing here on this diagram right now is it's a dish, all right? It's got 5 offensive linemen. The idea here is these are all man blocking situations. There's no slide side here. This is not a protection of any sort. If I take the 3 inside guys, the guard, the center, I'm just going to keep clicking back, sorry. The guard and the center, both guards in the center, if they have something man, they're going to work to it. They're never allowed to back up, okay? So if I have a really wide 4-eye, and that would be like my left guard here, if I had a 4-eye, I have to work to that guy. I've got to go close that space. If I've got a 2-eye, like my right guard might have here, I'm not going to shuffle laterally inside. I'm going to unlock my hip and work right to that 2-eye. Same thing as the center there. It's not 2 guys blocking 1 guy. That's just an example of a guy in that gap there and how they would work to that guy. But I drew this. I show this to my guys. This is where your line of force is going. Basically, a dotted line is my line of force is going to go to that guy. Now, if you talk tackles, it gets a little bit more interesting. The right tackle here, if he has a tight shade, something that's kind of close to him, and he feels like, all right, this guy's tight enough, I'm just going to go creep to him. I'm going to get the party started right now. He'll do that, and he'll feel comfortable doing that. The tackle on the left in this drawing, this diagram here, he's got a really wide defensive end. He's got a couple choices that we can give him. For the most part, I'll teach to angle set this. I'll talk about that later on, but he can either angle set and try to stretch the dish, widen the defender as much as possible. Or if he's feeling fairly comfortable, maybe he feels good, or a tight end's over there and he feels like he wants to just go at the guy, he can unlock his hip as well and work right towards that defender and take his line of force to him. So in this dish example or this dish concept here, we're understanding that we're trying to stretch defensive ends, and we're certainly trying to anything from guard to guard, we're keeping them on the line of scrimmage as much as possible, okay?
I've always been interested in the use of technology to make our jobs more effective, so I'm excited to continue sharing modern football technology with you here on the podcast. This innovative system leverages tendencies to improve self-scouting, game planning, and in-game decision-making at the speed of the game. Modern football stands out because it's a battle-tested platform used by teams at all levels, like 4-time national champion Bishop Gorman, the 5-time California state champion Folsom Bulldogs, 6-time Texas state champion Lake Travis, Cal football, and the CFL's Grey Cup champions, the Montreal Alouettes. So book a demo today to see why these teams trust modern football technology. Visit www.teammofo.com/demo and mention Coach and Coordinator Podcast or use the coupon code CC10 to receive 10% off your first year.
Now, when we talk about setting shorter, these are all guard and center examples. There are some tackle examples in here that I can show you. But simply put, we want to unlock our hip. The guy's probably out an angle, so he's not going to be lined up right in front of us typically. Okay, so to unlock my hip, I try to make this simple for my guys. And if you're in a right-handed stance, you probably got your right foot back. Your right hip's already unlocked technically. You may not have to unlock it too much more, but that if your hip is open to that defender, that you're all ready to go. If you have to, let's say, work to a 2-eye and your left foot's forward, you have to get that left heel deeper than the right heel to unlock that hip and create that angle of departure. So very similar to run blocking in that way. We want very, very short steps. We want them very quick. Okay. We want them in the ground. We don't want anything wide or anything long. We certainly, and probably one of the most critical things here is just maintaining a wide base. I think this right here, the wide base is probably the number one fundamental in pass blocking. And I'm going to say this, I'll probably try to get to a little bit more in when I'm showing the video, but anytime I have a guy that brings his feet together during the pass set or during the pass block, it's going to go south on him pretty quick. He's going to make it really hard on himself. And basically that's just a symptom of not being where I need to be when I need to be there. So now I'm going to panic and my feet have to come together. Okay. So how you set, and setting over and over and over again and keeping that base wide, a really big deal for us. And that's something that we're going to drill all the time. And then obviously never back up when we're talking guard, center guard. We just don't want to back up. I'm not going to back up as a tackle too if that guy's right on me. So those are simply put kind of the base coaching points for what the guards will do. All right. So talking about angle sets and stretching the dish, the one thing that was really critical, and it took me a long time to figure this out, is, Coach McNally, forgive me, we're going to turn our shoulders to the defensive end, all right? We're not going to stay square, but here's the deal. There's a way to do this where eventually you're going to square up to that defender to block him, all right? And if we're going to get the party started right away, we're probably going to square up to that defensive end a little bit sooner than you would normally. So if you tell the guy you're going to be square to the defender between the defender and the football, okay, and he turns his shoulders, he must get his inside foot off the line of scrimmage. All right. The first thing they want to do is just turn to that defender, and the inside foot stays on the line of scrimmage, and the defender speed rushes up the field, and they're wondering, why doesn't this work? It's because you're standing at the line of scrimmage. You're not stretching the dish at all, and that's what they need to be doing. So the inside foot does have to come off the line of scrimmage. You'll see some of this in the film. Staying square between the defender and the football does necessitate turning to the defender because the football is stationary and the drop back and it's inside the tackles, okay? The biggest coaching point about not oversetting, and I get it, guys. I mean, I was worried about that stuff too when I went to this. You know, we're going to get beat inside over and over again. Ultimately, when they start understanding, where's the ear hole? Can I see the ear hole of the defender? If I don't see, let's say the defensive end is tilted before I even start my pass set, I'm not going anywhere because I can't see the ear hole. The guy's right there. I might as well just creep out to him, okay? If I can see ear hole, I'm going to keep setting till I can't see the ear hole. And it does take some reps. It does take some understanding of that because they're always going to feel a little bit pressure to go faster and faster and faster. And you do want quick sets and things like that. But ultimately, that's the biggest coaching point, to not lose a guy to the inside, because as soon as you don't see ear hole, then that defender sees a free lane to the inside. He's going to take it, just like as if you just kick slide backwards and you get a bunch of depth. He's just going to go inside. Same principle. And then, I know this probably sounds weird too, but we're not going to punch in our pass pro. We're going to place our hands on the guy. We're simply going to basically kind of wipe down with our hands together. I mean, I don't care if they one hand or two hand, whatever they feel good about. That's the least of my worries. Again, I want the base to stay wide in the angle set. That is one of the biggest, again, the biggest fundamental is keeping that base wide, but we're gonna place hands when it's time to put them on that defender. The last thing on here is the one thing that I always ask Howard about quite a bit. And, this worried me because I think the only way you can pick up a game is to get depth and be on same levels and pass things off. And ultimately you start thinking about this and saying, okay, well, if I have a tackle that understands down and distance and he can take the appropriate set, meaning I'm not just I got to really loose 3 technique, and this 3 technique's almost a 4 eyes on me. And I don't know that I need to set really wide to this defensive end right now. Some shit's going down. I don't know what it is, but it's weird, right? So your spider senses maybe start tingling or something. You always need to use a drag hand, just like you would in any normal pass blocking. And then ultimately, the guards are the ones, not maybe the centers at time, but the guards are going to force the issue. The guard has to get to that 4 eye right now. So even if they were running some sort of game with a TE stunt and they're going to B gap contain, well, your guard has to, push that 3 technique out past the tackle's hip so you can exchange the game. Otherwise, it's not going to get exchanged. So having the guards always realize, hey, third and whatever doesn't matter. You got to force the issue. You got to take it to that defensive tackle right now so that we can ruin the game. We want to destroy the game. And you go back and say your defensive line coaches, every time they're working games with just the defensive linemen, they have like a guard and tackle that are just going to back up, and the game works awesome. Well, now we're not going to back up. And again, they need time and space for the game to work. I'm not saying this shuts down every game, but I never was able to shut down every game when I was kick sliding and setting backwards. So I'd like to be more proactive to this.
Here are the Winning Edge takeaways and ideas for implementation. 1. Emphasize effort. Coach Fuchs highlights the importance of effort over technique in offensive line play. He suggests that the greatest effort is ultimately what makes things happen on the field. Like Coach Fuchs, you should prioritize instilling a mentality of giving great effort in your players, as it is more crucial than focusing solely on technique. 2. Simplify techniques. Setting short can simplify the approach to pass blocking. By teaching a consistent method for your pass setting, you can streamline your instruction and make it easier for your players to grasp and execute effectively. This uniformity in technique can aid in improving overall performance on the field. And 3, create distortion for protection. Setting short can help create distortion in pass blocking, which enhances protection for the quarterback. By taking away time and space from defenders, offensive linemen can disrupt the opponent's pass rush schemes and provide a more secure pocket for the quarterback. Be sure to register for the Cool Clinic at cool2024.coachesclinic.com. Check the show notes for the link. Follow all we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com and follow us on X at Coach K. Grabowski.